Have you ever caught yourself waking up on autopilot as if life's remote control slipped from your hands? You go through the motions work, eat, scroll, sleep, and somewhere in between, you feel a hollow ache, like you're a character missing your own script. What if that nagging emptiness is actually a cosmic wake-up call? What if you're at the threshold of a journey that will reshape everything you thought you knew about yourself? Today, we're diving into the 5 stages of spiritual awakening, from chaos and the dark night to your authentic self. Think of this as your personal roadmap through the wild terrain of inner transformation. Ready? Let's go. Stage 1. Chaos. Have you ever felt your world suddenly tilt as if someone shook the ground beneath your feet? That's chaos knocking at your door. It's not a polite invitation that barges in, turns your life upside down, and leaves you gasping for stability. Chaos can arrive disguised as the end of a relationship, a medical diagnosis that rattles your sense of safety, or the quiet realization that you've been sleepwalking through your own days. In that instant, everything you once took for granted feels shaky, like walking on a frozen lake that might crack at any moment. When chaos hits, the regular markers that once defined you, your job title, social circle, daily routine, lose their grip. The hobbies that used to light you up seem dull, and the people who once felt like home feel alien. You might ask yourself, why don't I care about the things I used to love? That inner void isn't apathy. It's a signal pointing you toward deeper waters. Chaos doesn't lie. It exposes the undercurrents of dissatisfaction you may have ignored. Think of chaos as a cosmic weed whacker. It whips through the overgrowth of complacency, clearing away the dead foliage of old beliefs, limiting self-talk, and worn-out identities. Yes, it feels brutal, like you're trapped in a car wreck of your own making, but that wreckage is compost for new growth. Without this crash and burn moment, you might have continued on autopilot, never realizing that your life had become a repetitive loop, devoid of real meaning. In chaos, your ego's flimsy security blanket unravels. You wake up to doubts you've repressed. Is this all there is? What am I supposed to be doing? These questions can feel like betrayals by your own mind. Yet each question is a compass needle pointing away from the known and toward the undiscovered territory of your soul. This is the stage when you stand on the precipice of change, terrified of the jump, yet unable to return to the way things were. Here's the beautiful paradox. Chaos, in its raw upheaval, is a doorway to possibility. Remember how a forest fire reignites the soil, paving the way for fresh seedlings? Your confusion and heartbreak are the fire's flames, cleansing the landscape of your inner world and making space for fresh visions. It may feel like you're losing yourself, but in truth, you're peeling away layers that no longer serve you, revealing new fragments of your true self. What can you do when chaos arrives? First, breathe. Sounds simple, right? Yet in the eye of a storm, conscious breathing is an anchor. Next, give yourself permission to feel anger, grief, terror without rushing to fix anything. Chaos demands respect. It wants you to slow down and recognize that your previous pace was unsustainable. Then, start to question the stories you've been telling yourself. What expectations do you carry because of family, culture, or your own ambition? Which ones stump your growth? Use a journal or a trusted friend as a sounding board to name these stories and watch how naming them strips away their power. Chaos is not a punishment, it's an invitation. An invitation to wake up, to challenge the sameness of your routine, and to rediscover your life's raw, unfiltered essence. It shakes you awake, yes, but the shaking is often the only way we learn we've been sleeping. Embrace the tremors. In that trembling, a new, you eagerly awaits birth. Stage 2. The dark night of the soul. After the storm of chaos has passed, you might expect calm, but instead, you step into the dark night of the soul, a place of profound emptiness. Imagine being in a dense forest at midnight, with no moon, no map, and no torch. You can't see where you're going, and the path behind you has vanished. The world feels like a hushed void, and you're stripped of all the familiar comforts you once relied on. This phase feels like being unmoored, and that's intentional. The dark night of the soul is the universe's carpentry shop, dismantling the scaffolding of your ego so your authentic self can be built anew. It's as if you're being asked to sit in a room where all the furniture, beliefs, relationships, routines has been removed. What remains is a blank, echoing space. It can be terrifying to confront this nakedness, yet it is here that the pure essence of who you really are begins to emerge. You might experience waves of despair, asking yourself, who am I without my accomplishments? What defines me now? That raw questioning is part of the alchemy. In letting go of former identities, I am a doctor, I am successful, I am outgoing, you create a void where your true self, unfiltered by societal labels, can surface. Often, people fear this void and rush to refill it with new distractions, obsessive work, another relationship, spiritual quick fixes. But the dark night demands patience. It's an invitation to sit with your own presence, to become a silent witness to your thoughts and emotions without judgment. Meditation, contemplative walks, and mindful breathing serve as lanterns, revealing the contours of your inner landscape. Here's a metaphor. The dark night is like the chrysalis stage of a butterfly. Inside that cramped shell, it seems like nothing is happening, and yet, inside, the caterpillar is dissolving and reassembling itself into something entirely new. Similarly, in your darkest moments, you are being chemically transformed at the soul level. The discomfort signals that deep change is underway. How do you navigate this night? Embrace radical honesty. Notice each thought, fear, regret, shame, and label it. Here's fear, here's grief. Naming these experiences defangs them. Allow yourself to feel without clinging. Remember, you are not your thoughts or emotions. You are the awareness observing them. Engage in self-care rituals, warm baths, journal sessions, soulful music. These are like tiny lighthouses in a dark sea. Reach out to compassionate listeners, friends, therapists, spiritual mentors who can offer empathy without rescuing you. Their presence reminds you that even in the void, you're not alone. This stage is not a detour or a mistake. It's an essential recalibration. The dark night of the soul strips away all that's superficial so you can discover the bedrock of your being. When you emerge, shell cracked open, you'll find yourself reborn, ready to explore dimensions of life previously hidden by the hustle of your old identity. Stage 3, the search. Once you've weathered the darkness, a gentle curiosity stirs within you. This is the search. Picture yourself as an eager detective, flashlight in hand, scouring clues in dusty tomes, whispered teachings, and the quiet corners of your own heart. You are no longer clinging to a fixed identity. You're open to possibilities, hungry for guidance, and determined to piece together a new map for your life. The search can feel like wandering through a massive library where every book promises answers, ancient scriptures full of cryptic parables, modern self-help anthologies shining with bold claims, and wisdom videos starring charismatic gurus. You might ask, which teachings resonate with the vibration inside me? Which philosophies speak my language? Each practice you try is akin to tasting a new flavor. Some delight your palate, others leave you indifferent. This isn't intellectual snobbery, it's heartfelt experimentation. You might begin with meditation, sitting in silence until you touch the stillness at your core. Then you pick up yoga, feeling how breath and movement can unlock physical and emotional tension. You journal fervently, inviting your subconscious to speak in metaphors and symbols. Perhaps you attend workshops on energy healing or study the lives of mystics who walked this path centuries ago. But here's the catch. The search isn't about collecting credentials or imitating someone else's journey. It's about listening for your own inner yes. How does your body feel when you read a passage? Does your heart flutter when you chant a mantra? Does a particular teacher's words make your scalp tingle? Your intuition is the compass guiding you through this maze. Engaging in nature is also part of the search. A quiet hike can become a ceremony. Observe the dance of leaves in the breeze. Feel the earth's pulse beneath your feet, and witness sunlight filtering through branches like divine Morse code. In these moments, you tune into a frequency that transcends words, a language of oneness that whispers, "You belong here." Critically, maintain a playful spirit. The search can become a solemn chore if you lose your sense of humor. Try different practices, as if you're sampling ice cream flavors. Some might be too bitter, some too sweet, but each teaches you something about your taste. As you sift through practices and philosophies, patterns emerge. You notice certain themes: compassion, presence, unity, resonating deeply. These become the scaffolding for your emerging belief system. Gradually, you craft a personalized toolkit: daily rituals, mantras, movement practices, and ethical principles that align with your evolving identity. The search stage is like forging your own spiritual fingerprint. No one else's prints match yours, and that's the point. You're building a framework that supports your authentic self rather than fitting into someone else's mold. With each step, each journal entry, each meditation breath, you get closer to a life lived from the heart rather than the head, and you prepare to embody the wisdom you've gathered. Stage 4. The authentic self. With insights gathered from the search, you move into the authentic self stage, where theory meets practice and transformation ripples from the inside out. Imagine stepping onto a stage in a play you've directed yourself. The spotlight is yours, and you finally get to see the original script written by your soul, not by society or family expectations. In this phase, everything else feels inauthentic. You might catch yourself thinking, "Why did I ever spend so much energy fitting into that career that drained me?" Or "Why did I nurture friendships that left me feeling smaller?" The masks you wore: a polished professional, a people pleaser, a spiritual guru, slip away like discarded costumes, revealing the raw, unvarnished you. Externally, you may experience upheaval. Jobs that once paid the bills feel soul-sucking, and relationships built on convenience or status lose their allure. You begin to take stock: which commitments amplify your joy and which drain your essence. Boundaries become your best friend. Saying no to the wrong opportunities feels liberating because each no creates space for the right yes. Internally, emotional waves surge. Old traumas and suppressed feelings resurface: childhood wounds, past rejections, unhealed heartbreaks demanding acknowledgement. But because you've built a foundation in the search, you now have tools to face these storms: journaling prompts that unveil hidden patterns, meditation anchors that keep you grounded, and support networks that hold compassionate space. Think of this stage as pruning a bonsai tree. You carefully snip away dead branches, old beliefs, toxic connections, unhelpful habits, so the tree's true form can flourish. Yes, it can sting to let go of people or pursuits that once defined you, but the space you create allows your authentic branches to stretch toward the sun. As your internal landscape shifts, you notice subtle changes in your body. You sleep more soundly, your dreams become lucid with symbolic guidance, and synchronicities, those uncanny coincidences, pepper your days like breadcrumbs leading you forward. You start trusting these signals, recognizing them as high fives from the universe. Your voice becomes clearer, literally and figuratively. You speak up when something doesn't sit right. You follow impulses that spark curiosity, and you choose activities that light you up. Confidence no longer comes from external validation, but from the self-assured knowing that you are on the path crafted by your own soul. In this Empowerment Academy of the Self, you graduate from theory to embodiment. You demonstrate your newfound authenticity in small, everyday actions, walking away from a draining conversation, choosing a creative side project over binge watching, practicing gratitude when life surprises you with simple joys. This stage is both thrilling and humbling. You're not a finished masterpiece, but a work in progress, sculpting your essence with each mindful choice. The authentic self stage lays the groundwork for the next marvel, finding stability and belonging in a way you never thought possible. Stage 5. Welcome home. Finally, you arrive at welcome home, a phase of sweet integration and grounded presence. Imagine settling into a cozy armchair by a crackling fire after a long journey. You're warm, secure, and deeply content, yet still attentive to the embers dancing before you. Life feels less like a roller coaster and more like a scenic drive through gentle hills and sunlit meadows. In welcome home, you've internalized the lessons of chaos, the surrender of the dark night, the exploration of the search, and the fierce authenticity of Stage 4. Now, you navigate days with an ease that surprises you. Less hustle, more flow. You trust your intuition as reliably as you trust your heartbeat. Decisions feel effortless because they're guided by that inner compass you've honed. Relationships transform too. You attract people who resonate with your frequency, kindred spirits, who match your genuine vibration rather than drain your energy. Old connections that once felt essential may fade away, and that's okay. It's not abandonment, it's natural realignment. Those who remain value you for who you are, not who they wanted you to be. Your sense of purpose crystallizes into a comforting presence rather than an urgent mission statement. Maybe it's teaching, maybe it's creating art, or maybe it's simply holding space for others as you once needed. Whatever form it takes, your purpose feels effortless because it springs from authentic desire rather than egoic ambition. On a practical level, you develop daily rituals that keep you centered. A morning gratitude practice, a mindful walk, or a creative journal entry. These anchors remind you that every mundane moment can be infused with sacredness. You no longer chase happiness as a final destination. You discover it in the cracks of everyday life, sharing a laugh, witnessing a child's smile, or savoring the aroma of fresh coffee. Synchronicities continue to pepper your path, but now you greet them with a playful nod. There you are again, universe. Got it? I'm listening. You notice how opportunities and people flow toward you, as if you've tuned into the right channel. Welcome home doesn't mean the journey ends. Challenges will still arise. Old patterns may flicker back. Unexpected storms may blow in, but you now carry an inner refuge. You've become the safe harbor where your soul can rest, refuel, and set sail again. Ask yourself, what feels like home to me? How can I foster that sense of belonging in my daily life? Whether it's cultivating loving relationships, tending to creative passions, or deepening your spiritual practice, each choice reinforces the feeling of arriving. In this final stage, you're both student and teacher, explorer and guardian of your own inner landscape. You've discovered that the greatest journey was never about reaching a distant mountaintop, but about learning to walk with presence, authenticity, and compassion every step of the way. And in that realization, you've truly come home.